In February 2004, a 21-year-old nursing student named Mora Morray left her college campus in Massachusetts, packed a few belongings, and drove north into the freezing wilderness of New Hampshire. She told no one where she was going. A few hours later, her car was found crashed on a rural road, the airbags deployed, the windshield cracked. But Mora was gone. And in the 2 decades since, no one has ever been able to answer the question, what really happened to Mora Morray? Mora Morray was born on May 4, 1982, in Hanson, Massachusetts. She was the fourth of 5 children in a close-knit family. Her father, Fred Morray, worked hard to provide for them, and her mother, Lori, was known for her gentle personality. Mora was intelligent, athletic, and ambitious. She graduated top of her class at Whitman Hanson High School and later enrolled at the United States Military Academy at West Point. But after 2 years, she transferred to the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where she studied nursing. Friends and professors described her as disciplined yet private, someone who rarely shared her personal struggles. But in the months leading to her disappearance, small cracks began to show in her carefully managed life. In late January 2004, Mora got into trouble at UMass for using a stolen credit card to order food. It wasn't a serious crime, but it embarrassed her deeply. Around the same time, she had a car accident while driving her father's Toyota. She crashed it on her way home from a party, causing nearly $10,000 in damage. Fred Morray later recalled that Mora seemed anxious and distracted that weekend. She told him she felt overwhelmed by school, her job, and life in general. Just days later, on the night of February 5th, Mora was working her campus security shift when she suddenly broke down crying. When her supervisor asked what was wrong, she only said, "My sister." But later, her sister revealed nothing bad had happened that night. To this day, no one knows what really caused Mora's emotional collapse. On Monday, February 9, 2004, Mora sent her professors an email saying she would be gone for a week due to a death in the family. There was no death. It was a lie, and no one knows why. She withdrew $280 from an ATM, bought alcohol, including a box of wine and a bottle of Kahlua, and packed clothes, toiletries, school books, and a stuffed animal. At around 4:30 p.m., she left Amherst and began driving north toward New Hampshire, about a 3-hour journey. Her destination? Unknown. Phone records later showed she had looked up directions to Breton Woods, a mountain area she'd once visited with her family. Maybe she wanted to escape. Maybe she wanted peace. But whatever her reason, she would never be seen again. At 7:27 p.m., a local woman in Haverhill, New Hampshire, called 911. She reported a car accident outside her home, a black Saturn stuck in a snowbank on Route 112. Police would later confirm it was Mora's car. Inside the vehicle, they found her airbags deployed, the windshield cracked on the driver's side, and the car locked. The box of wine had spilled across the seats. A neighbor, Butch Atwood, a school bus driver, stopped to help. He said Mora told him she had already called roadside assistance. But when he left and called police himself, the truth was, she hadn't called anyone. When police arrived just after 7:45 p.m., Mora was gone. There were no footprints leading into the woods. No sign of struggle. No trace of her in any direction. Police initially treated the disappearance as a runaway case, suggesting Mora might have wanted to start a new life somewhere else. But her family disagreed. Her father, Fred Morray, drove straight to Haverhill when he heard the news. He searched the woods, handed out flyers, and pressed police for more effort. A massive search operation soon followed, helicopters with heat sensors, K9 units, and hundreds of volunteers combing the snowy woods. The dogs tracked Mora's scent only about 100 feet east of the crash site. Then suddenly, the trail went cold, as if she had entered a vehicle. That detail fueled one of the leading theories. Did someone pick her up? Inside her car, investigators found several strange details. Her packed belongings were neatly arranged. The alcohol was partially missing. Her cell phone and credit cards were gone, and neither were ever used again. There were also no signs of blood or struggle. Police concluded that Mora had likely walked away from the crash site voluntarily, perhaps dazed or intoxicated, and then succumbed to the cold. But that theory didn't fit everything. If she was lost in the woods, where was her body? Search teams covered every inch of the area multiple times over the years. Nothing. Over time, countless theories emerged. The voluntary disappearance theory. Some believed Mora staged her getaway. She was struggling with school, a broken relationship, and legal trouble. Maybe she just wanted to start fresh. But her loved ones reject that idea, saying she would never abandon her family without a word. The accident and hypothermia theory. Others think she wandered off into the freezing night after the crash and died from exposure. But in 20 years, no remains have been found. The abduction theory. The most persistent theory. Mora accepted a ride from a stranger, someone who may have meant her harm. The abrupt end of her scent trail supports this possibility. Some residents even reported suspicious vehicles seen near Route 112 that night, but none led to solid evidence. For years, Fred Murray continued to visit the site of her disappearance, begging authorities to keep searching. He filed multiple public records requests, and even sued for police files to be released. In 2017, a house near the crash site was searched after cadaver dogs reportedly reacted near its basement. But nothing conclusive was found. In 2019, human bone fragments were discovered nearby, only for DNA testing to confirm they didn't belong to Mora. The case remains open to this day. Mora Morray's case became one of the first true crime stories to gain massive attention online. Web sleuths, journalists, and podcast hosts have spent decades analyzing every clue, every photo, every map. But after 2 decades, there's still no body, no confirmed sighting, and no clear explanation. Only the haunting truth that one moment, a car crash on a quiet winter road, can erase a person forever. In the silence of New Hampshire's White Mountains, the memory of Mora Morray lingers, in her father's search, in the investigators' files, and in the hearts of strangers who still wonder what really happened that night. Maybe she ran. Maybe she fell victim to something darker. But until she's found, the question will always echo down Route 112. Where is Mora Morray? If mysteries like this fascinate you, real cases, real people, still unanswered. Subscribe now to True Mystery Vault and uncover more stories that the world still can't explain.